They're anywhere from 7 to 22 feet tall. They can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. The longer, the ones that have stubby tails, if you see one that has no tail, he's of the warrior class or the worker class. The longer the tail, the higher their rank. When you see one with long tails, with winged appendages, he's considered royalty. They have two hearts. There's one here, underneath this armpit, and one here. Or if you can't get to that area, you need to slow it down, you need to hit it right above its groin area that has a very large liver. You need to wound it there to slow it down. It is not something where man-to-man combat you're going to be able to deal with, because they apparently have the strength of 12, 15 men. They're incredibly quick. They're incredibly psychic. They know what you're going to do before you do it. And you know, if they get him in mass, we got real problems. Real problems. There are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles beneath the surface. They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time. They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They're carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are they carnivorous? They eat humans?
Yes. And they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children. You know, and we've been told, you shouldn't talk about that.
We're different from the president. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win. We're different from the president. We're very discreet, reptilian, cold-blooded. These are the races we have to win.
Answered my question about how you got this information about the reptilians that are native Terrans to planet Earth?
Oh yeah, so a random farmer in Eastern Europe met this young, attractive woman, and she was passing through and stumbled upon his cabin in the middle of nowhere. Over many meetings, she grew a liking to him. The story that I got was that they would have deep conversations about philosophy and like life beyond Earth. She was able to sense that he was very open-minded. Eventually, she revealed her true identity. Like I said in the last video, they're spiritually, mentally, and physically farther along than us. They are capable of abilities like mimicry and telekinesis, things that appear to be magic, but really is just advanced science and advanced mental abilities way beyond what humans are capable of. The guy was in shock, but eventually came to grips with everything. They supposedly evolved naturally over hundreds of millions of years from their dinosaurs' ancestors, compared to how we were, genetically engineered from our ancient prehistoric primate ancestors and mixed with actual humanoid extraterrestrials with their DNA. That's why our evolution timeline doesn't add up. 6 million years is nowhere long enough for us to evolve from an organism.
Sadness, fear, trauma. The energy is called loosh.
The topic of addictions of the reptilians. Humans have some addictions like alcohol, drugs, sugar. Reptilians have different
Are addicted to fear.
addictions. Yeah,
Right.
addiction to torture,
Yes.
to this energy. So
Right.
please explain.
Putting a human being to a low vibrational state by creating a circumstance in their life puts them into a depressive state, but then give off an energy they like, because they like sadness, fear, trauma, and especially tears. So somebody, you know, with their head in their hands crying, the energy is called loosh, and it's very, very high-powered energy. For them, very, very, very. They would somehow calculate an event, but even in dream. I mean, I've had dreams where I've been crying in a dream, and I know that the 4D, it's been mixed. So they're addicted to doing that. They're also addicted to the which is in the blood, which when you bring a human being to the highest state of fear that it can be in, the most extreme state of fear, a chemical is run through the body. It's not a nice topic, but blood is then got from them at that point. That chemical is inside the blood.
Yes.
So you take that, if that is consumed, the high is the highest high that you can get. So that is sold on the black market. Satanists sell it.
That's why they do those rituals.
Yes.
Are here now. Where?
There are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles beneath the surface. They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time.
They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They're carnivorous. They're not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are you saying carnivorous, they eat humans?
Yes. And they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children. And we've been told, you shouldn't talk about that. There are other people say, well, you better not talk about the reptilians. Well, bull. Why not? According to the Andromedans, they're responsible for 31,712 children disappearing in the last 25 years from the United States. These children were food. And I'm supposed to just shut up and not say anything about it because people don't want to hear it? That's tough. That's tough. Westchester County, in the last 5 years, 3,000 children in Westchester County, New York, have vanished without a trace. Where are they going? Why are we allowing this to happen? And why should people stay in denial about it?
Now, how are they able to do this? How are they able to? How are they able to? How are they able to do it? How are they able to come up out of this from underground and do it, or do they have?
There are tunneling systems everywhere. They're being helped by the Greys, and also there are groups within the higher echelon that are actually helping them acquire this.
So human beings are abducting the kids and giving them to the Greys, who in turn give them to the Alpha Draconians?
That's right. That's part of the deal. They won't come up as long as we feed them down there. You understand? It's about human beings selling themselves out. The echelon attitude here, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of humanity. And sorry, that just isn't right. But it's going to have to be humanity that's going to rise up and take the stand. You're just going to have to turn off your televisions. They're going to have to get in their car. They're going to have to fire everybody in Washington, D.C. that knows and does nothing. And they're going to have to do something. This apathy's got to end. Otherwise, the way we live is going to end. Period. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I'm not coming from a fear space. I'm really quite angry about the apathy and the fact that, when people give lectures and try to tell us, people want to stand up and fight with them. Look at what's happening around us. The indications are everywhere. Everywhere. The truth is now an obscure thing. The lie is the norm. There's something wrong here. What's wrong with this picture? Sorry, I'm getting crazy.
No, you're not. You're expressing frustration, I think. Why, aside from the carnivorous aspect to the Alpha Draconians, why else are they dangerous to humanity?
Because they don't like us.
And what are they willing to do with humanity?
Eat us. There's no need for us. I mean, look at where we are. Look at us right now as a civilization, as a society. Okay? They don't need anything. They have all this technology that they want. We can't really offer them except maybe do some work for them. But they don't need all of us to work for them. They don't respect human life in any way whatsoever. And this goes back to Lyra, to where the original war started. When they got to Lyra originally, they saw this human race that was plentiful in food, that could grow food, that could do all of these agricultural things. And mankind on a whole is really agricultural. We really, as a race, if we were left alone, would be nurturing the earth. We would be living in tribal communities like the Native American Indians did. That's really our essence, our nature, I'm sorry. That's really our nature, our essence. And, the cities and the culture that we're living in now has totally cut us off from the land, from what our real essence is, which is nature. And, we're starting to feed off each other now. It's like so bizarre. It's like when I see the Andromedans or when I've been exposed to the Pleiadians, when I see how they live and they teach and they live with each other and they respect each other, and I come here. It's like, it reminds me of that sentence that Abraham Lincoln, that quote that Abraham Lincoln once said. If you are above the earth looking down, you could be an atheist. But when I'm on the earth looking up and seeing the heavens, I know there's a God. It's like the duality. And I think enough of us, more of us really need to start taking the perspective that what we're doing here isn't right. There, with just the whole idea that, God, how did we get here? What makes me be here? You know, as opposed to going home after work, turning on TV, watching 3 hours of television, going to bed, getting up the next morning, going to work, and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, like robots. Throw the televisions away. Just throw them away.
Okay, what are the physical characteristics of the Alpha Draconians? What do they look like?
I don't have that. Maybe it's in the car. They're ugly. I mean, they think we're ugly, too. You know, and I guess it's all a matter of perspective and belief system. In my belief system, and I'm only taking responsibility for me, they're ugly. They're anywhere from 7 to 22 feet tall. They can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. They're reptilian. The longer, the ones that have stubby tails, if you see one that has no tail, he's of the warrior class or the worker class. The longer the tail, the higher their rank. When you see one with long tails, with winged appendages, he's considered royalty. Whenever you see one, you ought to just run like hell. You shouldn't approach it. You shouldn't provoke it. Just get the hell out of its way. Just get out of its way. Just run. You know, there is a way to kill them. If you can't cut off their head, they have two hearts. There's one here, underneath this armpit, and one here. Or, if you can't get to that area, you need to slow it down, you need to hit it right above its groin area. It has a very large liver. You need to wound it there to slow it down. It is not something where man-to-man combat you're going to be able to deal with, because they apparently have the strength of 12, 15 men. They're incredibly quick. They're incredibly psychic. They know what you're going to do before you do it. And you know, if they get here in mass, we got real problems. Real problems.
What do the Andromedans advise human beings to do if they encounter an Alpha Draconian?
To leave. You leave its space. Get away. To get away.
What if they can't?
Then they can't.
And if they can't?
They'll usually be killed.
And what do have the Andromedans spoken in any detail about what a human being should do if they are in that position? For karmic purposes? For
look, that's not karmic at all.
Or
a lot of these, you know, all this metaphysical stuff. You know, you chose to be here. A lot of, you know.